Hello and welcome to the Blackburn End Podcast. It's the end of our unbeaten but also our 100% start to the season at Ewood. Unbeaten one, has remained, but you've got to come away from that one just feeling a little bit flat, I guess. I think ultimately it was a very, very tactical battle. I think both teams have done a lot of homework. Both teams have set up really well. In the first half, the main chances came to both fullbacks for West Brom and the same for us, Joe Rankin Costello. I was worried about Cantwell playing on the left-hand side at weekend. I was again worried about that today. I think the main concern with that is defensively, is he going to give the support to Owen Beck that he needs? But equally, you think we're going to set up, and we know that West Brom have clearly done their homework too, and they tried to exploit the gap that left, basically. Travis was trying to shuttle across. Tronstad was, but actually Furlong had the best chance of the first half. He got in behind that defence, seemed absolutely shocked that he was even there, and fortunately for us, made a real mess of the finish. In terms of that first half, we had a lot more possession than we had at weekend, a lot more possession than we probably thought we would have in this game. We pressed quite high. If you go back to our preview video when we talked to Albion analysis, they talked about pressing them high was the way to go because they've got mistakes in them. And we did that. We did it quite well. We did it as a team. That's why Ohashi was starting. And to be honest, I went in at half-time. The commentators were talking all the time. I was unfortunately not able to go today. I watched it on Sky. And the commentators were talking about it being quite a drab first half, about not much happening. Actually, it was quite cagey, but it was quite a tactical battle. We were looking for them to make a mistake. They were trying to set traps for us the whole of the first half. They had the opportunity and they wasted it. You go in at half-time and I thought, do you know what? That's a solid start to the game. I think we'll come out of our shell a little bit as the game goes on. We've seen us do that before, so keep it quite tight. And then 60 minutes or so, we've tried to really push on. It wouldn't have surprised me if that was what we set up to do again. We've come out for the second half, and actually we were all over them like a rash. We were the better team for the first 15, 20 minutes. We had a couple of good chances. Rankin Costello had a decent chance. It's better ones being in the first half. But then we also looked at it, and I thought, if we don't get this goal, we're going to need to look to the bench. And then out of nowhere, Rankin Costello plays a really, really good ball, floated over the defence. Ohashi, the person you would want in that situation, good first touch. Did Cantwell catch his eye line? I'm not too sure. But Ohashi sliced the ball. He just snatched at the chance. It went well wide, never troubled the keeper. And you did worry at that point, is this not going to be our day? Is this going to be 0-0? Or is there something to come from the bench? We did dip into the bench. On came Vyman, most notably into that number 10 role. He carved out a chance for Tyrese Dolan within minutes of coming onto the pitch. Just before that, actually, Owen Beck had cut one back to him and he couldn't quite get there. And he thought, oh, hold on, this might change the game. As he goes further into that, his appearance, he lays one, drives at the defence, lays it off to Dolan, who's moved out to the right-hand side at this point. And Dolan, good first touch and just straight into the keeper. And that's got to be massively disappointing. We've had two really good chances there. From a West Brom point of view, not that we overly care, but from a West Brom point of view, they probably will feel hard done to as well. They had a half-hearted penalty appeal waved away. Absolutely the classic. If you're them, you want it. If you're us, you'd be disappointed if they got it. They probably had the better of the chances, but we had more of the ball. But that was definitely something they allowed us to do. I think ultimately, as the game wore on, it became a game you don't want to lose. It became a game that the team looked like they didn't want to lose. So if we just take you right back to the beginning, for those who haven't managed to see the game, one change from weekend, Ohashi in for Beaty. Very similar setup and a similar performance in some ways. It would be interesting to get the thoughts of Mike on the pod, so we will break it down. We've seen people talking in the comments about how concerned they are that they were playing out from the back. We did that more than ever tonight because they allowed us to have the ball. But I thought we got quite comfortable with it. In the second half, though, we definitely upped it a gear, and that's what was missing, really, in that first half. We came out and we showed some real intent. I think ultimately both sides will look to and point to a lack of quality. That, for me, was what decided the game. That's why it was 0-0. Both teams had some decent chances. Not loads of them, because we're two very well-organised teams and two quite evenly matched teams. And that's the thing I'm taking away from this game. I would put West Brom right up there at the beginning of the season. I would put West Brom as one of the teams that I think will be in and around the playoffs. And I think we match them. So I'm coming away from that game and going, do you know what? I actually think we could be playoff contenders. But equally, the thing that's going to really cost us is if we do not get clinical in that final third. We've done that before now. We're in the top 3 scorers before tonight. But I think ultimately, if we're going to really challenge those playoffs, the first thing we need to work on is we need some pace just to mix it up a little bit in the attacks. It can become a bit samey, it can become a bit predictable, it can become a little bit easy to defend. But if we can do that, we've still got to remember what a great start to the season. And I said I thought we'd get 1 point from these 2 games. I hope for more. We've got the point. Let's hope they prove me wrong. Let's hope we roll into Watford and we can somehow manage to get a point, maybe even 3. My big worry from tonight's game was Hayden Carter went down with what looked like it quite innocuous. At first, it looked like he'd overstretched, and I thought, oh, maybe he's done his hamstring. The camera zoomed in, and you could see what looks like bruising and swelling to the back of his right knee immediately. Massive concern. That indicates potentially a major injury, and that is not something you want. He couldn't put weight on it. We've seen that with Scott Wharton. We've seen that with previous players. I really, really fear for Hayden Carter, and I really hope that it's a lot worse than it looks. No, I don't. I hope it's a lot better than it looks, because it looked quite bad right now. And Hayden Carter's a key cog in our team, number 1, but equally, he's just progressing and progressing. I do think as we roll into the weekend, Danny Bath will keep his place. It'll be interesting to see if we change anyone else. Rankin Costello looked out on his feet. We tried to protect him by bringing Britton on again in front of him. I'd have taken him off. I know Joe Rankin Costello's injury record, and they were getting some success. He had a really tough night there tonight, though. He was up against a really good player in Colin Grant, who in the preview again, the Albion analysis talked about how he's just been an absolutely changed player since he came back from his loans. And then they brought on Johnson, who, again, is somebody they really rate. He marshaled them quite well, but he's had a really, really hard evening. I would have taken him off and brought Britton on. Not performance related, just because we know Rankin Costello's injury record and he looked out on his feet. That would be the change I would make at weekend. I would change him. I actually would do the same with Owen Beck. He's played 2 90 minutes in a week. Previous to that, his only game was 90 minutes at Burnley and or more or less 90 minutes at Preston. So as we roll into the weekend, there would be the changes I would make. Put your comments in the comments. Talk to us on social media. What would you do at weekend? How would you like to see us line up? What would you have liked to see us do differently tonight? Do you think it was a good performance? Was it a flat performance? From my point of view, I think it was quite a tactical battle. I thought both teams cancelled each other out. If we hadn't have had that 20 minutes at the beginning of the second half, I'd have said I felt like we hadn't gone for it enough. I think we did. I think we tried. I think both teams had decent chances. We just weren't clinical enough in the end. That's absolutely no disgrace. West Brom are a decent team. I think they will be up in the top 6 around that area. So that's a good yardstick for me, because we were quite evenly matched. And let's be honest, that's a lot higher than pretty much everybody thought we would be at the end of the season. Remember to like and subscribe. Subscribing makes a massive difference. Just grab hold of people's phones. Get on our Blackburn End Pod on YouTube. Just subscribe to us, and it'll help the algorithm. Once we get up to 1,000 subscribers, it allows us to do an awful lot more. We can look at getting some of the ex-players on the pod, and we can just tap into that market. But yeah, thanks for all your support, guys. Like, subscribe. Thank you for popping your comments in the 3-word reviews again. And we'll be back out to go again, ready for weekend away at Watford. Remember, it is an early kickoff on Saturday.